Recording. And welcome everybody to the Release and Recharge call. Today is April 7th, 2021. And today we're actually going to be focusing on anger. I've been doing a series with the chart of emotions that Lester Levinson had created. And anger is the fifth from the bottom. So we're actually going up the chart of emotions when we get to anger. And I also want to mention that I am Judi Glova. I have been an executive coach for about 17 years. I am also a facilitator of the Sedona method. And our call today is all going to be about and based on the Sedona method. So I look forward to doing that with you today. I also want you to know that if you are new to the Sedona method, there is no efforting required. This is a series of questions that I'm going to be asking you. It's called self-inquiry. It's kind of like a guided meditation, but I'm going to walk you through it step by step. And just to know too, when I say that there's no efforting, if I ask you a question of, could you let that go? Literally, the answer is as simple as, do you want chicken or beef? Right? It's like, can you let it go? Can I, do I want the chicken? Do I want the beef? It's like literally that the least amount of efforting possible, and just being able to make the decision. It's just a choice. So when we talk about releasing, I also think it's about choosing. It's about choosing our own freedom. And as I mentioned, today we're going to be focusing on anger. And when we look at the chart of emotions, anger is defined as, overthinking. It's like churning over and over again. Sometimes it's ruminating, it's frustration. Sometimes we think about the anger as being like heat. It's like that hot feeling that we feel when it's not just a disappointment. Anger really comes from that place of, you know I should have had that. Like there's a lot of shoulds with anger. So just allow yourself today to just notice any anger that you may be feeling in your body, anything that's coming up for you. And I just actually right now make sure that everything is out of your hands and you're sitting comfortably. And just allow yourself to take a nice deep breath and release it. And just allow yourself to be. And just stop. And allow yourself to notice just this moment, the truth of who you are. And notice your body in space, just wherever you're sitting or lying down. Just notice that you're supported in this moment. And allow yourself to think of a time in your life when you were angry. Notice when you think of it. Notice where it came from. That feeling of anger arose from within you. Even when you have external circumstances, that anger is coming from within. So you must be the source. So, welcome that sense of anger. And could you allow yourself to notice any pictures, any sensations, any conversations, sounds? Just allow those to be here as best you can. And could you allow yourself to do that even more? And can you allow it into your consciousness? And could you allow yourself to notice any sense of wanting to change it, to fix it, to do something with or about it? Could you notice any wanting, just as best you can, just for this moment? Sometimes with anger, there's a trigger, something that has triggered us to feel that anger. And sometimes we ruminate over the situation, we overthink it, we replay that scene over and over again, and we want more and more to do something with it, about it, push it away, or hold it close. Could you just allow yourself to be present with any sense of wanting to change it or fix it? And now, can you notice any sense that it's personal about you or who you are? Any sense of identifying with the anger, like I'm angry and I'm always angry at this particular behavior, or any sense of me, mine, them, or theirs? Be angry at someone or angry at yourself. Any sense of judgment or pointing finger or blame. Or notice, could you notice any sense that that anger feels important to you? That, that somehow that anger feels righteous? Can you notice that as best you can? And just for now, can you allow yourself to let that go? To let go of being that one with the anger? Can you let go of that story that's attached to the anger as best you can? And if there's any anger that's still present, can you allow yourself to imagine a big, huge soap bubble and allow yourself to place all the anger into that bubble, just as you would fill the bubble with air? You can just blow all of your anger into that soap bubble. And allow yourself to notice how that soap bubble is just lifting and drifting and drifting and getting further and further and smaller and further away. And let's go back to the beginning one more time. And you can pick that same situation or another situation and allow yourself to notice any sense of anger, any stories attached to being angry, either at yourself or others. Maybe you did something and you're just judging yourself as, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have said that. And you got angry or frustrated at yourself. Maybe you were furious with someone else or anything in between. Just allow yourself to notice the pictures, the sounds, and any sensations that are in your body. Actually notice where you hold that anger in your body as best you can. And could you notice any conclusions that you've made about yourself or others that's attached to that story of being angry or having anger? And now, can you notice any sense again of wanting to change it, wanting to fix it, wanting to push it away, or wanting to hold it close? Just as best you can, could you welcome that sense of wanting to change it or fix it? So often, when we have these feelings that we think are bad or we label them as bad or wrong, we either want to stuff them down, and that's kind of like holding on to them, or we want to push them away. We just want them to go away and we want to ignore them. So just notice as best you can any sense of wanting to push it away or hold it close. And as best you can you notice any sense of taking it personally about you or who you are? And can you notice just for this moment any sense that maybe that anger feels attached to you, that it's somehow a part of you? And could you give yourself permission to just sit with that anger as though it's like a friend? Just allow it to sit next to you and just be present. And could you allow yourself to give that anger permission to get up and walk away? Now let's dig a little bit deeper. Can you allow yourself to notice how that, where that anger arises from? and notice what that anger is contained in. And can you allow yourself to notice where that anger returns to? And as you notice that story of anger, or maybe another story that comes to mind, notice, are you that story of anger, or are you that which is aware of the anger? And I think if you notice it and you really experience it and not go into story or not go into the past, you'll notice that you actually are aware of the anger. And just allow yourself to notice your awareness. Notice that clear sense, that openness, as that awareness and that consciousness is that self illuminating light that's within you and within all of us. And just allow that light to fill every atom, every cell, every tissue of your body. That illuminating light of pure consciousness. Just allow that to expand and fill your entire body. And could you allow yourself to allow that light to illuminate the room, almost like your whole body is like a huge light bulb, just emanating light, and allow it that light to fill the room. And can you allow that light to expand even further, just as best you can? Allow that light to burn so bright and expand even further. And can you allow that light of happiness it into your consciousness and notice that you are that. You are that light, that joy, that happiness. And you can generate that joy and happiness for no reason. Sometimes I think we have it backwards. We think that something outside of us has to change in order for us to be happy, instead of realizing that you're the generator of that joy and that happiness. You can choose to stop postponing happiness. And why not now? So, could you allow yourself to just allow that light to envelop you, surround you, and protect you? And can you allow that to be enough? Okay, great. So I'm going to invite you to go into the chat, and you can actually ask a question. If you're new to the Sedona method, feel free to ask any questions that you have. Also, if you have any requests for assistance, maybe you have a specific thing that you're challenged with, that you're dealing with right now, that is troubling you. It may be anger. Maybe the anger brought something up, or maybe it had you remember something else that's going on. Just allow yourself to put that in the chat. Again, any questions? And I also, as you're typing in the chat, I'll give you a few minutes to do that. I do want to share an amazing quote that I saw the other day from Lester Levinson, and I attached it to this session that we wanted to have today because it just rang true for me. Like on the other side of anger, there's something else, right? So when I was looking at this quote from Lester, he said, "Every experience is to bless you, not hurt you. If you stay in accord with this principle, you will come out higher." So as we're working on the chart of emotions and we're going up, right? We're going higher and higher in our vibration, higher and higher, and releasing more and more. I just love that whole principle of, experiences are here to bless us, and we can learn from everything. And we can allow ourselves to notice these things as blessings. And as we accept, as we're in greater acceptance, and acceptance is actually at the top of the chart of emotions. It's right up there with harmony, acceptance, and peace, as well as freedom. So as we're going higher and higher up the chart of emotions, our vibration is higher. And I don't know about you, but I can take as many blessings as I can. So I just want to kind of leave you with that thought of how can you have every experience that you have today, allow it to be a blessing. So with that said, I just want to go into the chat box and see if there's any requests. I don't see any requests right now, but I did actually have a request from Kim. She was not able to hop on, but I wanted to address, Kim had actually asked for a release on overthinking. So I don't know if that resonates with you or not today, but I do want to do a custom release for her as she's asking it. So again, can we all just allow ourselves? Can we all just allow ourselves to notice any sense of overthinking? Notice any sense of our minds, just give our minds a little bit of loving care, right? Because sometimes we judge our minds of all the thinking that it loves to do. And the mind is just doing what the mind does. So could you allow yourself to welcome the mind, welcome all the thoughts, all the feelings, all the pictures, all the sensations, whatever is causing your mind to be busy and chattering. Just allow all that chatter to be here. Can you welcome the thoughts and just allow them to be here? And notice if there's any resistance to those thoughts, any resistance to the overthinking. Can you notice if there's any place in your body where you're feeling tight or resistance to having the thoughts flow? In Kundalini Yoga, we talk about how meditation is our ability to unpack the garbage in our unconscious mind. And what's interesting is that when we overthink, it's almost like we're having a flooding of all of those thoughts that are in our unconscious mind that we're trying to suppress. We're trying to hold them down. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever tried to hold like a ball underneath the water in a pool, eventually that ball will come up and hit you in the face, right? So I know I'm using quite a few metaphors, but it really is. How can we just allow all of the thoughts, just allow them to be there, allow them to dance, allow them to float, whatever it is that they want to do, just allow them to be there as best you can. And notice any sense of wanting to do something with them or about them, any wanting to push them down and shove them away, or any wanting to hold them close, any wanting to figure it out. Sometimes when we hold our overthinking close, it's because we want to figure something out. We keep going over it and over it and over it again. Can you just allow yourself to want the thoughts to go away as much as you want them to stay as best you can? And can you notice any sense that it's personal, that those thoughts, that overthinking is about you or who you are? Any sense of me, mine, them, or theirs? Any sense that that overthinking is personal? And could you just notice, is that overthinking? Is that you? Or are you aware of that story of overthinking? As you look in your direct experience, and I don't want you to believe me, I actually want you to observe and notice how you probably don't know what you're going to be thinking 10 minutes from now. Our thoughts are just there, they're like clouds that just pass through. And the more we can just let them be there, the more we can just let our thoughts be there, just be present with them. And as best you can, could you let that pattern go? Would you, if you could let that pattern go of overthinking, would you let it go? And when? And I want you to notice if there's any left over. If there's anything left over with thinking that that pattern's going to come back because it's been around for such a long time, right? Any sense that it's personal, that that pattern of overthinking is somehow about you or who you are. Could you just notice and welcome that pattern of overthinking and allow it to be here? And can you give yourself permission to not be the one with that story? Can you allow yourself to welcome the freedom as best you can? And can you notice the overthinking, the ruminating as much as you do? And now, can you welcome that sense of freedom, acceptance, openness, and clarity as much as you can. And again, if there's any left over, can you welcome that pattern of overthinking, of ruminating, of churning on a story? Can you welcome that as best you can? And now, can you allow yourself to welcome that sense of freedom, openness, clarity, and peace as much as you do? And can you allow that openness, that freedom, that sense of peace to just fill you and surround you? And can you allow that to be enough? Okay, great. So I see from Tim, I have noticed my own movement up the chart and have had anger. Yeah. My partner has noticed this, but I don't see this as a bad thing. Yeah, Tim, absolutely. It's not a bad thing to have any sense of anger. I mean, anger is just a feeling, right? It's not attached to us. It's not even real. We actually are the ones that make our emotions real. So to the extent that we can notice that our anger is not us, that it's a feeling, and I'm not sure if that's your direct experience or not. So Tim, if you want to unmute yourself and let me know, is that your direct experience?
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi, Tim. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, jolly good. Um, well, I suppose it's energy, isn't it? And so when it was reflected back to me by my partner that perhaps I sounded a little bit aggressive or angry.
Hmm.
I wasn't deliberately being so. It was just the energy state I was in, I suppose.
Hmm. Well,
Uh,
yeah. Go ahead.
so I suppose when you went and said that isn't really us, it's just the energy. Perhaps at that particular moment, I didn't see that, but um, I've definitely noticed. I mean, I the reason I said it's not a bad thing is because it's progress, isn't it? It's better than being apathetic, you know.
Right. Well, I think there's two things that we're talking about. So I'm going to put my coach hat on right now. So
Okay.
when it comes to emotions, absolutely the way that we can identify the emotions and release them, whether it's with the Sedona method or exercise or whatever it is, meditation, it's our personal responsibility to process our anger. Now, the other thing, again, putting my coach hat on, when we think about how we're communicating with others, there's intention and impact, right? Our intention doesn't always create the impact that we want, right? So our intention may be to communicate something that's upsetting us, and the impact on the other person may be anger, right? So we don't necessarily always have a match between our intention and our impact. However, I can tell you that my experience, at least, is that when we're communicating on the energy of loving, even when we're feeling anger, it comes across, our intention is more likely to meet our impact. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I understand 100%. So because I'm most of the time I'm aware if I have some anger or I'm resisting anger or whatever it might be. Um, I think especially during the lockdown period, I've been very conscious to communicate in a loving and sort of neutral way, rather than I think when you have less time to be aware of these things, you can, yeah, jump into um, non-loving communication. So yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I also want to acknowledge that, yeah, the lockdown and the whole pandemic has really heightened our senses of our awareness, or our awareness of our emotions, and especially anger. I think close quarters tend to ignite a little bit more of that. Um,
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes familiarity breeds contempt, but that's not necessarily what's true. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But I also loved, again, I'm going to go back to the Lester Levinson quote, and it's like our anger can actually also be a blessing because it's giving us an experience of something that we can heal within ourselves, or maybe it's even the blessing of healing something within your relationship. So yeah, I don't know if that rings true for you or not, but I offer that as your anger as a blessing.
True. True. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Did you have any other questions?
Um, I suppose I also just, it was an observation, Judy, was recently they relaxed some of our lockdown rules, and I got to get together with some people for like a barbecue. And I did notice a lot of like internal, let's say, judgment coming up, about other people, and I didn't really like it, because it's not something that you often want to sort of show.
Uh-huh.
But I did see that like as a gift to be released, really, because um, over the last year, I've done facilitation course, I've done work on myself using Sedona method, and I've got a lot deeper on issues than I ever have done in, like, let's say, peacetime,
Right.
and so the fact that those things were coming up, I may have just ignored them in the past, but now I'm actually like releasing on them, which is nice.
Right. Wow. Well, I actually want to acknowledge you for being able to release in the moment, because I think that is just an amazing, like when you're able to get to that point where you can be present, even in, a crowd or in a group of people,
Yeah.
and just walk yourself through a release. I just want to acknowledge that. That's awesome. Congratulations. That's great.
Well, I think your guided release today, when you mentioned trying to control our own experience and like basically resisting the feelings we have,
Yeah.
that was where I did the release from. So I stopped resisting all that judgment, and as you know, when you resist, it lets go. So it's really good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I love that analogy of the ball, the beach ball that we try to hold underneath the water, because we
Yeah.
stuff our feelings sometimes and we stuff them down and down. And it just like, how can you just let that ball up and just let it pop you and hit you in the face? Just let it out. But yeah, good for you, Tim. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers. And Raymond, I see your message here. There are times in my recent times of reflection, my mind travels back to experiences from the past, fast forward to the now and the future. And I ask myself why certain memories are in my now moments. Sometimes I feel like it's a review to reinforce a lesson for something experience I will soon encounter. Is this considered unusual? No, actually, no, because Raymond, it sounds as though you can unmute yourself if you'd like. Um, but my reaction to what you wrote, Raymond, is completely normal. The one thing I will notice, and I'm putting my coach hat on right now, anytime we ask ourselves the question why, it literally is like gas on a flame for our ego, right? So our mind, I'm using a lot of words to define what that is, but our mind or our ego, whenever we ask the question why, it's like gasoline on a flame. It just gets bigger and bigger because our mind is never satisfied with any answers that we give it when we ask the question why. um, so Raymond, is that helpful? That's my first comment. Is that helpful?
Well, definitely that it's not unusual because it seems like, I don't know, I guess another way to, I guess, try to explain it is I feel like, there are things that I've experienced that I haven't quite dealt with, totally processed or unpacked.
Uh-huh.
And I'm at a place now where, I really want to kind of get out into the deep, but I feel like, I need to settle some of these past issues so that they won't be any kind of hindrance, going forward.
Right.
So,
So would you categorize that as resistance?
now my take on the resistance thing is, I guess, like you were saying earlier, it's a blessing. It's like going to the gym in order for me to gain strength. Uh, the amount of resistance that I encounter in my workout is going to determine the amount of strength that I gain going forward. So when these different situations occur, I try to, look at them through that lens that, you know, um, this is
Okay.
a good thing and not, not a bad thing. Oh,
So in this
or-
present moment, Raymond, is it
Mhm.
present? Is it happening now?
At this moment, no, not uh, today. A lot less than, say, within the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
And
So so let me just ask the question again, Raymond, is it happening in this moment, in this second?
in this second, no, it's not.
So can you notice, are you those thoughts and those memories, or are you that which is aware of those thoughts and those memories?
I think I'm that which is aware of the thoughts and memories.
Okay, so can you actually notice? Actually take a look. Look within your mind's eye. Like, can you notice that awareness?
Yes, it's almost like, seeing it in like the second person or third person. And I'm like, wow, it's almost like you mentioned, it's almost like a little movie that you're replaying. And in a lot of the instances where, say, I was angry, where, I did not, um, there were issues of anger, and I had to release those. I'm kind of a strong proponent of forgiving, and I
All right.
feel like if
Right.
I let those feelings, um, if I let them stay, they're toxic, and they don't serve me any. It's almost like poison. So,
Right.
I
Can
try to
you-
forgive quickly, but
Sure.
I'm noticing I need to forgive myself more. Because
Right. That's
I
really, yeah. Raymond, I want to acknowledge that awareness of sometimes it's the forgiving ourselves. It's that ability to allow it to let go within us. It's like, sometimes we take it personally. And that's when we do the triple welcome, when we notice the story, when we notice that we want to change it or fix it, which is exactly what you're talking about right now. And then that point that you just made, it's like we take it personally. Somehow it's about us or who we are. That's like the third hook. Like, how can you allow that last bit to just let it go so that it literally can float away like a big old soap bubble? So that, you're not replaying it, because it sounds like there's a we anticipate sometimes when we anticipate that it's going to come back. Right, we kind of save it for later. So I always like to invite you, could you allow yourself to let whatever is still there, could you allow yourself to just let that go? Just could you?
that I hope I can become a master of doing, because I think that's been an issue, that there are things that I haven't let go. And then I think there's some things that I really didn't feel like I could handle, like just really putting them under the microscope
Raymond,
and
wait 1 second, you're in your head right now. I want you to
okay,
get in your heart. Yeah, because I really want
okay.
to ask you 3 questions, and you can
Mhm.
answer yes or no. And it almost doesn't matter whether you say yes or no, but just allow yourself to give the choice. Okay. So When you think about all these memories, could you allow yourself to let them go? Just could you?
Yes.
And I'm asking your heart, I'm not asking your head, okay? So could you let it go?
Mhm. In my heart, I really believe yes.
Would you let it go if you could?
Yes, I think there's some that that don't really serve, you know,
Raymond,
me
stay in your
well.
heart. Raymond, stay in your heart, not in your head. So would
Okay.
you let it go? Yes or no? Would you let it go?
Um, some memories are precious, so I think the bad ones, yes, definitely.
And when?
Right this moment, if I could load up the soap bubble, I would need a really big one. But
Would you?
yes,
Okay, so when would you let it go?
right this moment, it would be a NASA launch 3, 2, 1 liftoff. Get out of here.
Okay. And I just want you to notice, I want you to be aware of your language because you're saying you would. Just allow yourself to give yourself permission in this moment. Because sometimes when we say, I would let it go, you're still thinking in terms of the future. And that may mean that you're holding on to it. So I just want you to be aware of your language. So let me ask you those 3 questions one more time. And we're just going to go through them. Again, one word answers is all we need right now. And I'm asking from your heart, okay? So,
Hmm.
could you let it go?
Yes,
Would you let it go?
yes,
And when?
right now.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, I am so glad that I got to hear from all of you and to give you any clarity and assistance today. And I want to acknowledge that Allison has also given us a message. Thank you. I have to leave now. Very nice release today for her. And Tim, you're welcome as well. So thank you, everybody. I look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks. You will be able to get your notifications as long as you are signed in. You will get those via email, and I look forward to seeing you then. In the meantime, if you need any one-on-one assistance and want to book a session, you know that there is always an opportunity for you to do that. Just go to judiglova.com/schedule, and I will send you the rates for individual one-on-one sessions. I look forward to supporting you, and I look forward to hearing all about your gains and wins along your journey of releasing and using the Sedona method. So have an amazing, blessed day. And as the words of Lester Levinson, every experience is to bless you. And we'll leave on that. Thank you so much. Bye-bye now.